Heyo everybody, Haku here, finally with my review of Fear the Walking Dead's mid-season premiere, episode 208 I guess, season 2 episode 8, yeah, right? And this one was called, I don't even know what the title was, it was called Grotesque, that's right, after the book that Nick was reading. But yeah, this, a lot of people are hating on it, and there are actually a lot of people that really like it, and a lot of people that said it was boring. But honestly, you guys know I said that my personal favorite sort of thing in the zombie genre is seeing people explore and adventure, and even if it's a little bit slower paced, I don't really mind that. But you also know that I prefer episodes where we jump around and see a lot of different stuff, because I feel like it feels like we get more content that way, and it feels like this way with the bottle episodes we get way less content. And I also always complain that the bottle episodes in the original Walking Dead are some of the worst episodes by far. Like every season, the weakest episodes are always the bottle episodes. But I don't know. I feel like it can definitely be done right. The latter half of season 4 of the regular Walking Dead was almost every episode was a bottle episode, and almost every episode except for like the Daryl and Beth one, they were pretty great to me. I loved the second half of season 4. So with this, I feel like it was a good bottle episode. I really liked the adventure aspect of it, the survival adventure aspect, but there were definitely some big mistakes to complain about. So I'll go over both the good and the bad here and give my thoughts on each. First off, I'm gonna, instead of trying to remember what places they happened at within the episode, I'm just gonna go over the flashbacks here. And I thought the flashbacks were really good. I'll also go over them first because I thought they were actually a good thing. I really liked the flashbacks. I liked this character development for Nick, seeing that how he felt about his father, knowing that his father is dead now. So that all for me was good. Was this the right place for it, since it was just him here and we didn't get to see how Madison or Alicia reacted? Not sure if this was the right place for these flashbacks, but it worked, and I liked the flashbacks being in the episode, and they served as good sort of dividers and bookends throughout the episode for whenever we jumped to a different segment of his journey. But starting out with his journey, we see him, there's, what's the chick's name? Like, I have it written down, hold on. She is Sophia. The chick that took their guns, I think, when they first went into Celia's compound. So that chick is going south with this dude named Juan, this little kid, to find his father. But she tells Nick to go north if he wants to find more people like them. So it's seems I guess they have to know that there are more people that behave like that, or else I don't know. It isn't set up a ton, but again, it's like it kind of makes sense. So that's a lot of things here. They're kind of getting away with some ass police stuff because they set it up to where a lot of their things where they need a convenient plot point, they're like, well, it does make a little bit of sense, but it's a tiny bit of a stretch. And, well, it's not even a bit of a stretch. It's like, it makes sense, but there's not really much setup for it. And I think, is that a mistake? Maybe. But he starts going north. He finds the road to Tijuana, heads in there. It was shot to look like the Rick going to Atlanta sequence, and a lot of people are very critical about that. Oh, Nick and Rick, when is Nick gonna fight Regan in season 6? So there are a lot of people critical of that, and I'm a bit weary of it as well. I'm weary of a lot of issues with this being too similar to the comics and too similar to the actual real show, when there is a lot they could do, and like they still get a lot of people watching, but nowhere near what they could be getting, especially with The Walking Dead. It's like what they started out with, their ratings have dropped a ton, and there's no real reason for that. They have all the opportunity. They have an existing fan base. There is no reason why they can't deliver an amazing show. And a lot of it just seems very half-assed to me. Not from a cast or a creation sort of way, like the actual the actual production doesn't seem bad. They're not screwing up there. I think it's the writing. I feel like the writing is just really shallow, and a lot of the things that are mistakes here could be easily fixed. And I think that's honestly my biggest problem with a lot of the stuff going on in the show right now. And a lot of the stuff in the past, I feel like they had opportunities for things that they didn't fully seek out. They just said, okay, we'll drop it and move on to something else. And they keep having these opportunities for something great, and they decide to, nah, we'll just wing it. So I guess that is a complaint I have with the episode too, because the episode felt that way in a lot of parts, where it's like they have an opportunity for a great scene, and then they just sort of filmed something and said, we don't need to make it better. So Nick tries to sleep in this house, and this crazy bat lady chases him off. And I think that, again, was kind of ass-pully. I feel like he could have just easily grabbed the bag or whatever. I don't know. It just seemed like they needed a convenient little 2-minute or less scene for him to lose his water and stuff, so they threw that in there. It didn't flow like realistically to me. It felt like a bit of an ass-pull. It felt very convenient, and it's one of those things, like I said, where logically it makes sense. A person could have been sleeping in that building that he didn't see, and they could be scared and chase him off. But even though that you could say that, there wasn't really set up for it, and it did just seem like a convenient little scene thrown in there. So without that, he keeps walking down the road. He finds a bottle of water and a radio in this car. Some dudes show up, kill this one old man just to make sure you know that they're the bad guys. And again, a little bit convenient. Nick runs away. They shoot at him. He runs through the forest. He has to deal with the desert, the hot, the cold, trying to eat a cactus and throwing up. Freaking dogs biting his leg, and Rick drinking his own piss, doing the Bear Grylls thing. Rick Grimes did not have to deal with any of this shit, let me tell you. But I don't know, I really loved all of that. Seeing all the stuff he went to, seeing the adventure of it and the survival of it, that aspect was really good. It's where we got into some of the bigger scenes that seemed like the chick chasing him off or the people on the road seemed more ass-pully and forced. And I really don't feel like a scene in any show should seem forced, but a lot of it did seem like they were like, we need this to happen, let's just do whatever so that this happens. We need him to lose his bag. It doesn't matter how. You could have him like accidentally drop it off a cliff, throw in a scene where he loses the bag. Like, that's what a lot of these scenes felt like, and I feel like they shouldn't feel like that. So the dogs barking at him after they bite him and he climbs on top of a bus attract a herd. Kind of convenient. The herd kills the dogs, and then these horns at the road lure the walkers to them, which again, very convenient. So Nick eats the dogs just for some quick gross out factor, I guess, and ties his leg off with one of the walkers' belts, puts some guts on, and walks with the herd to meet these dudes. And this is a scene that took at least 2 points out of 10 off of my enjoyment of the episode, where, again, it's an easy fix. Here's what they could have done with the scene. They could have had the dude, I don't know why they honked the horn and just felt like killing walkers, but even if they did, even if that's their thing, they have fun doing it. Have that happen. The walkers get right up on them, and they're about to like leave and just or do whatever because they're like, okay, they're getting a little bit close, and then the dude sees Nick, freezes, and that moment of hesitation lets the walkers get like right up on him. So then he starts fighting back, and there are too many, he can't fight back. But what we got, the walkers were so far away. The guy fumbled around with his gun for like 10 hours, didn't try to run away, just stood there and let them bite him. It was one of the cheesiest and possibly the worst walker kill in all of Fear or the normal Walking Dead. It was the cheesiest, lamest, worst scene. Like, it was just so bad. And even worse than the dude hesitating and waiting like 9 hours for the walkers to bite him, then we see the other dude getting bitten, and the other dude had no excuse for not running away. He wasn't even frozen or scared like the other guy. He just stood there and let them eat him. And then the third guy runs away. And it's like, It doesn't make any sense. They just stood there to let the walkers eat them. Like, you could have shot that better. You could have shot it with them trying to fight them off, or the walkers, like, getting up on them too quick and they weren't expecting to not be able to take them, and they get overwhelmed. But instead, they just sat there and waited for the walkers to eat them, pretty much. It was one of those things where I don't really think the scene was acceptable at all, and I really feel like, I don't know, it just didn't even have a place in a TV show. Like, they should have reshot that. That was a horrible, horrible scene. I believe that I suck at acting, and I can't act for shit, but I believe I could have maybe done better than that scene. Or maybe directing is part of it too. I could have looked and said, this looks like shit. Let's make it look like you are actually getting overwhelmed, and make it look like you're not just standing there having them just walk up on you and eat you for no fucking reason, essentially. Not even trying to run away or fight back or anything, just letting the shit happen. So we see these three people, Luciana, Francis, and some other dude, watching Nick after all this goes down. Nick collapses, wakes back up, stumbles into town, looks for meds but can't find any, tries to duct tape up his leg. Then Luciana approaches him, takes him to this dude Alejandro, who treats his bite wound, and then they find out we're in this place called the Colonia, and it's, I believe they said it was some sort of place that just sprung up around an old factory or something, and so there's a bunch of shops and everything, and it looks really, really nice. But here are a lot of complaints I have. For those of you who don't know, not really a spoiler warning, but in the comics, if you don't want to know, I'll keep my hand up while I'm saying this, but in the comics, the Sanctuary, which is the head of Negan's saviors and everything, they put walkers around the place to serve as guards, and pretty much keep other walkers and keep people away. Well, hand down, because I'm not going to spoil anymore. Well, apparently they said in The Talking Dead that they keep these walkers out front to help protect them, and then they feed their sick and injured to the walkers. And I think that's a little bit similar to that, and a little bit dumb that they have to copy the comics like that, or copy a comic concept like that. It's not like some huge concept that I'm like, oh, that's complete ripoff, but it is a little bit, come on, you could have been more creative. And another issue I guess I have, I don't know, I just feel like them telling us that on The Talking Dead, and them telling us about it being built up around a factory or something, of course you can say, oh, then don't watch The Talking Dead, but the point is, you shouldn't say that, or you shouldn't have to say that. Put it in the actual story. Like, you shouldn't have to go back. Like, I know in some series it's okay to throw in some extra info, but you shouldn't have to rely on stuff outside the actual show's episode for info. That should be explained in the show. Not like straight told to you, because that's like spoon feeding, but like actually work it into the plot to where the readers or viewers learn that information without it being just completely said to them. And to say it not even in the show and spoon feed it to us, but to say it outside of the show, even worse. Like, I don't even know what they're doing. I think the show is a mess right now. And I like the show. I like Fear. But it's a mess right now. They've got to do some work after this episode. And the thing is, I loved all the stuff with Nick traveling. It's just that there were some very badly made scenes. And on top of that, the ending in this whole Colonia concept seems too much like things we've seen again and again. It just feels so... a lot of it feels really cheesy. I hate to keep using that word, but a lot of it does. So my basic thoughts is that it was a great adventure and survival episode, but there were just so many scenes and things in it that seemed like convenient and ass pull, where they're like, we need this to happen, just throw this in here. And it's just convenient and ass pully. And it wouldn't be a problem if it was like things that were difficult to get around story-wise, but there were so many things that could have been easily fixed that were wrong with the episode. So I personally enjoyed it a lot. if I was to talk about my enjoyment actually watching it, probably like 8 out of 10 worth of enjoyment. But when it comes to actually looking at it critically, I'm still going to give it a relatively decent score because I did personally enjoy it, but objectively it was not very good. It was maybe around average, a little above average. I'd still rather watch it than a lot of episodes of a lot of other TV dramas, so I mean, six something out of 10, 6 dog bites out of 10. Not the worst score ever, because honestly I did enjoy it, but definitely the 2 points off for that terrible, terrible scene and all the ass pulley stuff. And that's it for this video. So like if you liked it, comment down there, tell me what you thought of this episode. I'm sure a lot of you are probably going to be a lot more hard on it than I was. Because, I don't know, I enjoy things, even if they're not very good objectively. And yeah, so yeah, tell me what you thought of the episode, what you thought of my thoughts on it. Comment down there and tell me, or I already said that. Subscribe for more Fear the Walking Dead, both TV and comics, and a ton of other stuff. Follow on Twitter if you want as well. I'll try to keep you updated there on things for the channel. And that's it. So thank you all once again for watching, and I'll see you all next time.